नमस्ते बिटिया, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया। Myself, JV and Dr. Astha Sikarwar, Assistant Professor, Department of Organ of Medicine, FHS, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University. Today's topic is Robert's philosophy, vital energy in its universal application. The vital energy is that force which animates each individual. While the vital energy is in the individual, that individual is said to have life, to exist. The vital force in the individual becomes therefore the ego, that most intimate spark of the individual, which is in it itself the essence of the individual and which divides his individuality from all others, yet is his closest relationship to the universe. This closely relates him to all living creature, yet he is identical with none. It is that once his tie to all energy, all vitality, all life, and at the same time in his insulation against the massed power of the whole. Without this vital force, there is can be no life, no development. There is no static condition in nature. Without a healthy, normal development of the vital force, we find a state of decay and death. We have observed in the study of the human race that life is pre, pre sorry, perput- perputed under certain favorable conditions of mating. It is true that physical characteristics are handed on from parents to offspring, but that the parents actually give life to the child, we may reasonably doubt. We may say with all assurance that under favorable circumstances, life is handed on from the parents to the child in more or less perfect vigor. When hence life comes, we cannot say, but it gives vigor in greater or less degree to the individual according to the heredity and environment. We cannot doubt that life is continuous. We know to be true. There has been no age when all life has ceased, and we find this vital force, this energy, this dynamism passed on in all forms and degrees of living creatures. Where there is vital force, there is action, motion. Action is one interpretation, one manifestation of vital force. We speak of the inanimate as dead, yet with death there is always decay. We think of the Earth and other planets as dead, yet they are in continual motion according to their regular and defined direction through the universe, which has been observed and recorded by man. If we have no motion, no action, no direction without vital energy, it must be this energy which is responsible for all growth and all development in all spheres of existence. Like all laws, the laws governing vital force may be infringed to some degree. The privilege granted to human life is the right of choice, and this right of choice implies degree of choice. Vital force in its perfection means growth and development, since there is no condition of standing still in nature, and infringement of natural laws means decay and death. The degree of the infringement, either in an individual or in his predecessors, determines the degree of decay and its spread. On the spiritual place, we find those aids which tend toward correct choice and aids to regain a lost balance in the form of religious convictions and beliefs. All those aids which foster the growth and development of the spiritual life of man. On the mental plane, we find instruction of various kinds which tends to development of the mental faculties and all those things which go toward an honest comprehension of the individual, toward himself and his relationship to others, and toward all life. In other words, those things which foster sanity. On the physical plan, we find those things which tend to keep us healthy in body, such as suitable foods, and those things which we can adapt for better housing, cleanliness, sanitation, and many other things. We find on this plant too many substances closely allied to foods which have within them a vital energy capable of being raised by potentization from purely physical plane to that of the mental or even spiritual. This is most decidedly the study of the homeopathic physician, for in these substances we find the most similar remedies for the developments of the ills of man. Homeopathy, however, in distinction from ordinary medicine, believes that there to the release of power from the minimum of substance through potentization is that which will most quickly and accurately influence the disordered vital force of man on all three plans. Let us look at this law of mathematics with that thought in mind. The quantity of action necessary to effect any change in nature is the least possible, and as Fink added, the decisive amount is always a minimum and infinitesimal. If vital energy is the fundamental power, the motivating factor of the universe, balance must be one expression of the law. If the very planets are kept in their place through the influence of vital energy, this must be an infinitely delicate balance. We see the effects of balance all through nature and natural expressions, and therefore we realize that balance power is one manifestation of the law. All the elements and all forms of matter are capable of being moved, activated by vital energy, although they may not themselves possess this energy within themselves. All the elements and all forms of matter possess the possibility of divisibility to an almost infinite degree. Vital force is capable of three forms of action: motion, direction, and balance, that we have already studied in the previous lecture. These manifestations of energy are an integral part of any exhibition of vital energy. Growth and development are directed motion, and in the degree of their perfection, do we find the manifestation of balance. This session powered by digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention it in comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.